What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, the host of Epic Conversations 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and host and co-producer of monthly online conversations for fathers that are co-sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization and Dove Men Care. And I was just thinking before I went live, and my voice sort of went funny for like a millisecond. I hope you didn't criticize me because of that. I'm going, this gentleman has probably been on the Dr. Vibe show more than anybody else, I would say from late December until now. And you're going to go, why? Well, you're going to find out why. Danny Stone is an entrepreneur, podcast host, coach, speaker, teacher, and community servant. He is the founder of the School of Success, an online school of entrepreneurs that teaches them how to level up their business and their lives. He's been coaching people for 15 years and helped hundreds. I think it's not hundreds of them. I think it's thousands, but he's a modest guy of people take their lives, business, and careers to the next level. Dan is the author of the best-selling books You Have the Keys, Now Drive, and the co-author of the new book, New Me, with 9 other men. He believes that you have something special, find out what it is, and live it out loud. And tonight, Danny's going to be sharing with us how to get back on track when life has gotten out of control. So welcome back. Hopefully going to be a monthly regular. Coach Danny Stone, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me, Dr. Vibe, man. Thanks for that intro. I really appreciate that. Great to be back, as always. You know, when you and I get together, it is epic conversations for sure. And this is going to be another one, I'm sure.
Oh, they're going to be fire. This going to be fire. This going to be lit. This going to burn it up. People going to be talking about this. Even when they're in their grave, they're going to be talking about
in their grave. Wow, okay.
Yeah, this is like the Stevie Wonder. It was hotter than July. Like, we're in August now, but Toronto was hot. This conversation is going to be hotter than July.
Wow, you're hyping this up, man.
What have you been up to this? Like, what have you been up to? Like, for people to be, I don't like using the word transparent, to be open. I try to keep up to this guy. And I've waved my white flag. White flag.
You know, I've been up to a little bit. I think since I've last been on here, it's been a while. So, you know, in the midst of all this COVID stuff, I decided that I wanted to serve more and help more people. So the very next day after we got locked down, I decided that I was going to go live on Instagram and Facebook almost every day and just teach people and help people kind of get their life back on track. So I've done about just about 100 Instagram and Facebook lives since March.
Wow.
So that was one of the first things I did. I just decided to jump in and serve more and help more people. And in the midst of all of these amazing conversations, I started an online school. I launched my podcast, The Grind and Gratitude Show. And I launched a monthly coaching membership called The Driver's Seat. So just keeping busy with all that, doing some online speaking for different organizations and universities. Just trying to help, really, just trying to serve. That's what it's all about for me.
Absolutely. Well, again, I tip my fellow bald head to you on the amazing productivity that you're able to achieve. And, you know, I'll save how you approach productivity and get those results, because it's not about us tonight. It's about the viewers and the listeners that are watching this live on the replay. Why did you want to pick this conversation topic at this time?
Oh, that's great. So I've been speaking to a lot of people. A lot of people have been sending me messages and DMs, some of my coaching clients. And, you know, one of the things that's coming up now that we're kind of moving through these turbulent times and we're trying to figure out what's next and where we fit in, a lot of people are just feeling stuck. They're feeling like life, like things are just out of control and out of sync. And, you know, it actually came up because one of my coaching clients during our call, she said, you know, I feel like I've gotten off track with my life. My business is kind of falling apart, my health, and I don't feel like I'm being a great parent. So how do I take back control of my life? And I thought, wow, this is it. So we went through that coaching session, and she was just amazed. She's like, wow, that was so phenomenal. And I said, is it okay if I share the tips that I shared with you with other people? She said, absolutely. And so that's how the topic came up.
Nice, nice. How important is having control in one's life?
Well, I think it's important to have control over some things, but you can't have control over everything. But see, the minute that you kind of leave your house, you have limited control. You can't control traffic. You can't control the train. You can't control any of that. But what you do have control of is that those first 20, 30, 60 minutes when you first wake up. And so that's why I always talk to people about having a morning ritual, not a morning routine, a morning ritual. And a morning routine is like the things that you have to do to prepare for your day. Like you got to get up, you got to brush your teeth, you got to shower. That's a routine. The ritual is the thing that you do that you look forward to prepare your mind, your body, your spirit for success and happiness and joy. And so that's the thing that you have control over. After that, you don't really have control. So I think it's important to start your day with the morning rituals of the things that you have control over, but also to know that, you have to be flexible in your day, right? Sometimes we're so tied to the way things should be. And when it doesn't go that way, we just kind of, we get overwhelmed because, the day didn't go the way that we expected.
Something came up in my mind as we're having this conversation. Um, can some people having lack of control because they're almost like programmed to be a certain way, to do a certain thing at a certain time? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, there are people that need everything to be structured and lined up. And when it's not, they're just overwhelmed, they're anxious, they're stressed. So yeah, there's definitely people like that for sure.
You have, and I just want to do an aside for a minute. Approximately how many people have you spoken with this year? Because it's phenomenal, and just the feedback that you're getting from them. Like, give a rough estimation of how many people you've spoken with this year.
You mean through audiences and lives or one-on-one or what?
I'd say one on one.
One-on-one, just in the last 4 or 5 months, about 115 or so.
Wow.
Yeah, one-on-one. Yeah.
What made you go to that journey? Because you weren't doing it before.
Right.
Why did you start going down that path? And what rewards have you benefited and they have benefited from those conversations?
Well, I'm like, I saw a need, right? Like I saw, even me, like I'm used to working from home, and I'm used to having my morning ritual and all that kind of stuff. But when all of this kind of happened, I was kind of out of sync a little bit myself, and I realized, I had to get back in my groove. And as I started talking to people, so many people were just like, they were fearful, they were nervous, and so on. So I just like, how can I help? And so literally I just started going live, just asking people, how are you doing? And then I started actually developing like curriculum, like an hour-long curriculum, and teaching people like how to shift your mindset, how to use your skills to create side hustles, how to get back, how to get on track with your goals. So I just started kind of teaching people things because I saw that there was a need and a void. And as a result of doing that, it kind of led me to landing, some clients, to getting people signed up in my monthly membership. And people just started getting results. Like people were like, man, this is amazing. I can't believe you're giving all this information away for free. I would pay for this. And that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be valuable. I just didn't want to jump on and just do nothing. I didn't want to waste people's time. So I actually like put together 1 hour curriculum. Sometimes I had slides and notes and everything.
In the conversations that you've had with these 115, What are some of the areas where people feel they've lost control?
Definitely their health and wellness. I mean, that was one of the first things that have come up with a lot of people. A lot of people have been home, so they haven't been exercising, they haven't been going out, and they really haven't been eating well. So the health and wellness part, the physical health and wellness, and the mental health. Mental health was another big one. Like a lot of people were struggling mentally because we were isolated, felt isolated. And even if you're isolated, quarantining with your family, they were still isolated because they couldn't get out. They couldn't, see their coworkers. They couldn't see family members and friends. So those were the two biggest areas. And then people were kind of worried about their financial situation, like, money and would they have a job after all this is over? So I would say those are kind of like the three areas that people were kind of struggling with or having challenges with the most.
2020, with all the events, the people that have been struggling in those areas, is it more, were there more people who were already struggling and it got amplified? Or was it more people that weren't struggling that are now struggling?
I think it was both. And I think what happened was I understand the level or the magnitude of the challenges that they were having. I think once COVID hit, they realized, oh, my relationship isn't as great as I thought it was, or I don't really have this really loving relationship with my kids like I thought I did, or so I think a lot of it kind of hit people when they were locked up in the house for such a long time. So I think for a lot of people, these were things that already existed that they might have been either blind to, unaware of, or suppressed. And then just being home, sitting with your thoughts and your family, I think it kind of brought it to the surface for a lot of people. I can't hear you.
I want to take a look at the control factor pre 2020. In the years that you've been coaching, has control always been a challenge for a number of your clients?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, when you're going through a challenge in your life, whether it's you're struggling with your health and wellness, a lot of people are struggling in their careers. Most people are doing something that they're not passionate about, or their job might be stressing them out or overwhelming them, or they might be anxious about their jobs. So I think in that regard, people are they were just kind of like feeling lost and like out of control. Like if you don't have control of the place that you go to every single day, I think for some people it was just like they just felt like they wanted to break through that, but they didn't know how. Right. And, if you're waking up every day going to a job that you really don't like or you don't love, or your health it affects your health, it affects your relationships in so many areas of your life. And I think for a lot of people, they just didn't know how to get back on track with that. So they felt like things were out of control.
Hmm. What's gone on in 2020, do you feel that this is, for those who are ready, the best time to make a shift and get back control?
I think it's the best time to make a shift because, like right now, so many people are going through similar things. Like sometimes it's difficult for you to make the shift when you're the only one, right? Like when all your friends and family are still doing the same thing, right? And you're trying to break out and start eating healthy and get your health back, or you're trying to break out from this job and find another job. It's kind of difficult when everybody else is still kind of in the same mindset of being stagnant. But right now, like the whole world is in this kind of, we're undergoing this transformation. So in a way, it's actually a good time to kind of step into that, because now other people can understand. Other people may be feeling the same thing. They might not know how to make the changes in the shift, but they're like, yeah, okay, I understand now. I probably have to look for a side hustle or look for another job because maybe my job's not stable. Or I've been cooped up in the house for 5 months, and I realized I really need to take care of my health now. And now, people who might have been resistant to that, family members, friends, or coworkers, are now like, yeah, I think, yeah, we all need to do this, or I need to do this too. So I think this time is actually a really good time for a lot of people to start to make some kind of transformation or shift in their life, because the people around them will understand more now than they ever have.
Mhm, mhm. I find it very interesting, the title of this conversation, getting more control of your life. Uh, is there a time where this was applicable to you?
Where I had to get control of my life.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. 7 years ago when I was working in the corporate world, I saw lots of sick leave and stress leave, and good people getting let go from the job. And I was a part of that, the complaining party. We'd all get together for lunch and just complain about our jobs, and talk about how we wanted to break out, and none of us would do anything. And because of the job, like, I was overweight. I just wasn't as confident as I usually am. My relationship with my wife wasn't the best. And it's interesting that sometimes we have all of these areas of our life that we think we need to kind of improve and bring more joy and happiness to, and you end up trying to juggle 10 balls in the air. And when you really just hone in on the one or two things that need the most attention, oftentimes when we focus in on those one or two things, it has a ripple effect, a positive ripple effect throughout the other areas of our life. So, for instance, like, I realized that I couldn't stay at the job and it was time for me to go. And I secretly had a business on the side. And so the business started to grow and I had people working for me and so on. And then I realized it was time to go. And I made a plan, and I put in my 2 weeks notice and I left. And once I made that transition, like once I focused on getting out of that job, all the areas of my life started improving. My health and wellness started to improve. I was happier. I got my confidence back. My relationship with my wife improved, all because I laser focused on one area that needed the most attention. And so that's just an example, right?
You said some, as always, dropping some serious knowledge bombs there. I want you to talk about the parallel between focus and control. You brought it up there. If you can go a little bit deeper on that, because I think it's a very important point that you just shared, high level, but if you can go a little bit deeper, I'd appreciate that.
Well, first of all, the reason that I said, I called it like, how to, you know, how to get control, like how to take back your life and get control, is because a lot of, like, I think you can't really have control. And I only use that word because that's what people have said to me. I need to get control of my life. But, like, is it really control or is it really focus? Like, do you need to just get focused, right? Do you need to, like, make a mental mind shift in terms of, like, how you approach your day and how you approach your goals, right? So I think people juggle back and forth between focus and control. For me, it's like, I think a lot of people talk more. I think they're thinking more about, they need to first get clear about what it is that they want, why they want it, and how they can make it happen. And I think when people can do that, there's an idea that you're in control. And so I think that's what it is. I think when people say I need to get control of my life, I think they really mean I need to understand what it is that I really want, right? Understand why I want it and how I can make it happen. And I think there's something that we have to understand, is that Tony Robbins said this: progress equals uh, happiness. Progress equals happiness. And I think for a lot of people, they think that control equals happiness, but it's not. It's progress. Every day that you get closer to your goals and dreams, every day that you get to play more towards the things that you love to do, that's happiness, right? And in some people's mind, that equals control.
Okay. Wow. Well said. Well said. I think that actually you have a. Okay, range of clients age wise. Oh, and there's a friend with us, Jill. Hello, Jill. How we doing? Great to see you. Great, great lady joining us for the conversation. Keep the comments coming, Jill, as always. Do you have a wide range of clients? Because I know you do a lot of stuff with young entrepreneurs, and also you have older clients, especially with the young entrepreneurs. Does the control thing an important thing for them?
No, it's not. It's not control. A lot of young entrepreneurs, they just want they want a strategy, they want mentoring, um, and they will need encouragement. So it's not necessarily about control. They just need to know that they can actually launch the business, that they can actually be entrepreneurs. So they need the mentorship, the encouragement, and a strategy. For most of them, it's not about I need to be in control. It's just I need to know that I can do this, and I need encouragement and guidance, strategy, processes.
Hmm. How much fun do you get mentoring the young entrepreneurs?
I mean, I love it. I love working with young people. I love working with everybody. But I started, many years ago as a youth outreach worker, working in high priority neighborhoods, and I've been working with youth ever since in some capacity. And so I love it. I love like seeing young people light up about something that they're passionate about. When we were growing up, it was like you got to go to school, you got to get a quote unquote good job, and just be happy with that. And I love the fact where, you know, these young people have seen some of their parents struggle and they say, you know what? I don't want to be like that. I want to do something that I'm passionate about and I'll do what it takes to make it happen. And I love that. I love that energy that they have. I love the passion. I love the inquisitiveness that they have. I love all of it.
It's interesting when we talk about this subject too. I have a next door neighbor, one next door neighbors couple, wonderful couple. They have two daughters. The eldest daughter, I think she's in her late 20s, early 30s. She's a teacher, supply teacher, and all that. And we had a fascinating conversation the other day on. She was saying like, yeah, kids are still learning, and take it where you may, reading Lord of the Flies, Shakespeare. I'm going, ah, like I'm going, this system's still trying to control them.
Right. Right.
I'm like, now the fun thing is, for those who don't know, my father's been was an educator for 38 years, and we had quite a back and forth saying it's worthwhile them you learn Shakespeare and they should know. And I'm going, are you kidding me?
No, tell him that. Ask where. Let. I want him to tell me when I would use that in my adult life. Can you be? Have you ever been in a conversation or at a networking event and said, "Hey," started quoting Shakespeare? People are just gonna walk away from you.
Like I'm going, this to me is the wrong type of control.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going because in my world, a piece of paper isn't even much. What have you produced?
Right. Right. Right.
You
And
know,
and you know what, Dr. Vibe? I think we should also add into the mix of focus, control, and structure.
talk to
See,
me.
structure is what we all need, right? We all need structure. And we all have structure. If you're a student, you got to wake up every day, be at school, go to school, be at school on time. You have assignments, you have structure. You come home, your parents may give you structure. As adults, it's the same thing. We wake up every day, we go to work, we come home, have dinner, structure. And so a lot of people want freedom in their life. They want freedom to do what they want when they want. But here's the thing, have you ever been like off work for a week or two, or even during this COVID? Everybody's like, cool, oh, yes, I can sit home and watch TV all day and chill and watch Netflix. By week 2 and 3, what do you want? You want some type of structure in your life, right? You want to be able to get up and do something every day. And so, what people don't understand is that if you want freedom in your life, freedom to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, freedom requires discipline and structure, right? So we need structure in our life because if we never had it, we would never get anything done.
Mm-hmm. Fully agree with that. Yeah, we need the structure, and I think it's interesting. Structure can be good and structure can be bad. Like as you said, there some people are so structured, they don't know what it's like to think for themselves,
Right, 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 right,
which is one extreme. And again, that's that control, for lack of a the system.
right. But
Control.
even think about this, Dr. Vibe. When you look
Yeah.
at highly successful people, you look at somebody like Tony Robbins, you look at Richard Branson, guess what? Those are people that can do whatever they want when they want. Guess what? They still wake up with a morning ritual. They still have a structure to how their day flows. And these are people who are billionaires, right?
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Even people who have the ability to not do anything still have structure, right? And you're right. Like you can go too far either way. You can have no structure at all, where you get nothing done, or you can be too structured and too rigid, where sometimes you're just so focused on that you miss all these other things. You miss life, really. So
Absolutely.
so I think that's an interesting point.
Well, you're getting a compliment here from Nicole saying this would be such a good session for our teens to have. That's Danny's wheelhouse. That's why that's what he does. So, Nicole, if there's a group of young people that you feel need this is the gentleman way ahead of me. Get him. Get him. Definitely get him. He's on it, and he's been doing it the right way for a long period of time. Are you beginning to see people sort of get out of the control piece? Because I know this has been a topic for you for a while, but are you seeing, are people in as what state are people in that you're chatting with compared to at the beginning of this year?
Um, a state. I mean, people are anxious. They are fearful of, am I going to have a job? How am I going to provide for my family? Um, and just uncertain about like the future, like what the world is going to look like. So I've been talking to a lot of people, and they're all over the map, right? Some people are okay, they've adjusted, but a majority of people that I've been speaking to haven't. And so one of the things that I talk about is like when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed and anxious, and you feel like life is just kind of unraveling, you need to talk to somebody, right? You need to, like, somebody that you trust, a friend, a family member, a mentor. You need to talk to somebody before that spirals out of control, before that gets into depression or some other type of mental health challenge. And I've seen this with a few people I've known. They bottled up some things inside of them, and unfortunately, it kind of just came out, and in a very negative way, and really had a really negative effect on them. And so that's one of the first things I tell people: if you're feeling stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed, talk to somebody. And here's what happens when you talk to someone. First, you just getting it out may be all that you need, right? Sometimes you just need to release the stress, and that you need somebody else to know that you're going through a difficult time. And that's enough for some people. The other thing is, when you talk to somebody, you might realize that they're going through something similar. And when we're going through a challenge in life, or we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, oftentimes we think we're the only ones. And when you actually put yourself out there and you have a conversation with other people, you realize, wait, other people are going through either something similar or the same thing. And so that can just help give you a little bit of relief to think that you're not the only one. And then obviously, sometimes they can help you work through it and provide you solutions and guidance and so on. So that's one of the very first things that people should do if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And Nicole says, okay, it'd be a good session for our teens to have. She says, our sons in particular. Well, that's why you should buy this book. Danny and 9 other authors New Me. And also, I've been very blessed to host some conversations that the New Me movement is having over the next few weeks. Okay. Here's an interesting question. What advice would you give someone who wants to get into being a life coach?
Uh, well, that's a good question. So here's what happened. I stumbled into coaching about almost 20, I'd say about 15 to 20 years ago. And I was working for a career center, and we had a little bit of training, but I kind of just stumbled into it and we had to figure it out. And what happened was over the next 10, 12 years, I ended up being in, management roles where I was coaching employees and so on. And so I always tell people, like, if you're interested in getting into coaching, one of the best things that you should do is take a coaching program. I took a program and from the Coaches Training Institute, and it's great because you do this introductory course for like a weekend or something, and it gives you an idea of what coaching is all about. Because I think a lot of people have misconceptions of what coaching is. A lot of people say, oh, I always give my friends advice, so I would be a good coach. Yes and no, because coaching requires really deep listening, right? And it's also not about you telling people anything. It's just about you asking a lot of powerful questions and holding people accountable. Mm-hmm. And so if you can do that and you're not tied to the outcome, right? Because sometimes you might not experience that transformation within that person during your coaching, right? You might see changes in them, but you might not see that big transformation. And some people can't deal with that because they want that transformation in the person. And so if you can do those things, then yeah, I would definitely recommend that to people, right? Take a coaching program. There's so many out there. See if it's something for you, and then explore it. Start. Usually a lot of those programs, they get you to try it out on people in your course or in your program, and to try it out on your friends and your family as well. So that's kind of what I would suggest.
I will throw in my 2 cents in regards to if you want to be a life coach. First of all, I would say it's a good idea, but the thing is, the course I took, one of the things I loved about it is before you graduated, you have to write a business plan, because they took coaching not only as a profession but as a business. They want to set you up for success when you go out there.
Right.
I think another good thing, if you're going to be a life coach, if you have a strong community ahead of time, it's always helpful, because too many coaches graduate out of programs and they've got to basically start cold with their community.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. And also to go in with an open mind that you're going to learn as much about yourself as the people you're going to be coaching. And I agree with Danny, the 2 important skills: asking great questions and listening. Those are core. And I've been blessed because I do these sort of things. I've been doing 2,000 of these. So questions is just a normal thing for me.
Yeah, you're great at that. You're great at the questions. You just you know what to ask and when to ask. But know the other thing, Dr. Vibe, that you drew on, and this is another thing that really great coaches do. You have to do that self-work, right?
Yes.
You have to be willing to I know a lot of people that have become coaches so that they didn't have to do the work on themselves. They thought if they can go out there and save other people, that they didn't have to deal with their own challenges, roadblocks and so on. If you're going to be a great coach, you have to look into yourself first and do that self-work. And if you don't, you're never going to be a great coach.
True. And I would say the coaching program I did, relating to our conversation, it gave me more control with myself. I had a better understanding of myself because I knew where my challenges were. I knew where my opportunities were. So it's more in alignment with myself. And it's actually, the coaching program I took is probably, if not the best, definitely one of the top 5 courses I've ever taken. And I take it to anything I do today.
That's awesome.
It was a game changer for myself, to the point where I still have a relationship with that coaching school and we keep in contact. And I won't get too deep into it, but they've also provided me an opportunity if I want to get involved with their coaching school. So I think, and also to advice, ask people who are coaches, their experiences with the school they're at. Like Danny and I went to 2 different coaching schools. We had great results, but ask around, get feedback. Actually, when I applied, I actually had an hour conversation with the gentleman who was doing the course. He was willing to take the time to answer all my questions on the front end,
Oh, that's
And I
great.
was impressed by that. That was great customer service. And him and I still have that relationship today. We speak at least twice a month.
And I think it's coaching is something powerful that you can use in your own life. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you can use it in understanding yourself in conflict situations when you're lacking confidence. Like, you learn the skills and the tools and the resources um, that really kind of enhance your own life and your own communication and understanding of who you are. And once you kind of go through one of these programs, you're definitely going to walk out more confident, more focused on like who you're trying to serve. You're going to have more clarity around all of that stuff.
Clarity, control, all those things are related. So if people say you're going way off topic, no, it's part of the topic. It's because at the best of times, the only person you can control is yourself.
Right. Yeah.
To the
And your
very
own emotions, your
yeah.
own emotions.
So Nicole is putting us to the grind tonight. She's going, what it, and again, I guess because I put the book up, uh, she's asking, what advice would you give moms raising black sons? Wow. There's a
Uh,
control piece there too.
well, I'm not a mom, but I would say to find something that your son is passionate about and take an interest in it, whether you like it or not. Find something that they're interested in and continue to encourage them and play to that passion, right? So that's one of the first things that I would recommend. Take an interest in what they're interested in. And I grew up playing basketball and soccer my whole life, and I think my mom was at like almost all of my games. Like, everybody knew who my mom was. My mom's loud, and everybody in the gym knew she was there. And even though she used to embarrass me sometimes, it was just great to know that she was there. She knew all of my stats. She knew everything. My mom just became like a basketball fanatic. And when I went on to university to play basketball, she would go to all of those games as well. And it was it was like her interest in my interest in basketball that really helped me to excel. So that's one of the very first things that I would say is like, find out what they're passionate about and just learn as much as you can. And then the other thing is to sit down and have like real conversations about like the challenges that they're having. Like, how's school going? What's happening with you and your friends? Like, and when they tell you something, just sit down and listen without being judgmental, because we're all young at some point. And and then the other thing is to help them find role models. Like, seek out role models for young boys, because mothers are great, and a lot of us were raised by women, single moms, and so on. But I think young boys having a man as a mentor just adds another element of understanding between the two that moms might just not understand. And so those would be the three things that I would say you should be could focus on for the young black sons.
Nicole, you bring up Danny, outstanding stuff, and I'm just gonna add to it. Uh, I'm a member of an organization called Dad Central. For those people who may or may not know, it's Canada's national fatherhood organization, and the lead for the organization. Oh, Nicole says your answer is powerful. This is why I asked the question. There you
Oh,
go. The lead for the Ontario region asked me 2 weeks ago, could you do some voiceovers
wow.
for the website? And I go, okay. I thought it'd be 2 or 3. It was 7.
Wow. Okay.
But one of them was interesting. Nicole says, for moms cannot do what men can do for boys. You say it, sister. You're preaching to the choir here. No doubt about it. But one of the voiceovers I did, I'm gonna read today, right
Okay.
now. So, and it's about control. So you see, folks, I'm keeping control in this as much as possible, right? So here's the little thing. Serge's children knew who the boss is. When he tells them to do something, they obey quickly. If they are misbehaving and he roars, cut it out, they listen. They know from experience that there will be big trouble if they don't. He makes them do their homework every night right after supper with no exceptions. Serge's kids seldom try to negotiate with dad because they know there is no point.
Hmm.
When the family goes out in public, Serge's kids are well behaved. He knows how to keep them in line.
Hmm.
Now, here's the interesting point. Serge's children are well behaved, but mostly because of the power he has over them.
Hmm.
It's not real discipline, it's control.
Right.
The
Right.
goal of positive discipline is to gradually help children learn how to act when there is no one there to tell them what to do. If Serge's kids are ever going to develop self discipline and the ability to make good decisions about their own behavior, he will have to give up some of his tight control.
Hmm. There you go. There you have it. I mean, that says a lot. That speaks volumes right there, right? And Dr. Vibe, like, what do you think about that? Based on the way that many of us grew up, if our
Oh,
fathers were around with the iron fist, like, do you think that statement is true or?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Because, and again, I've shared this story a little bit on different conversations. When I was growing up, if I did wrong, my dad would give me the belt.
right, right,
Didn't like it.
yeah,
And it was a controlling thing emotionally on me that I
mm,
needed to break from because it wasn't helping me. And one day, a number of years ago, there he was, lying on his bed, on his back, with his music speakers underneath his bed, listening to music. And I came out to him and said, Dad, I'm always going to love you. But when you gave me the belt, it hurt me. And what did he say to me? I didn't know any other way.
mhm.
So if you feel you're under unnecessary control, hopefully, and I'm praying that you can have that brave and safe conversation to get the balance back.
I think it's really important that we have difficult conversations, right?
Yes.
It's like we just learn to avoid things, especially as Black people. Like we just learn to accept, we've dealt with racism, we've dealt with, discrimination and all these other things. And so that kind of just is ingrained in us to just suck it up and deal with it. And then, as you know, we have all of this trauma and these mental health challenges that we just bottle up, and we don't realize it until something happens. And I think it's important just to have those difficult conversations, like like you had with your dad. I mean, man, that must have took a lot of
Yeah.
strength and courage
Well,
for you to have that conversation with your dad.
but I couldn't handle the control it was having over me in a bad way.
Yeah.
It wasn't allowing me to be the best that I could be and have come out to be. And ever since that was the beginning of a turn in our relationship. So, you, as Danny said, speak out if you can. And the sooner you can speak out, and especially in a positive manner, respectful manner, at least it will help you. At least it will help you. Because especially over this year, I think, as Danny has said throughout this conversation tonight, a lot of people feel like they're stuck inside a cardboard box. They feel a dent, but they can't break through. They feel like they're like, I can't put it, like controlled, jailed up, whatever you want to call it. That's why people like Danny out there can help you.
And you too. You're a great coach as well, Dr. Bob.
I just show up. I don't know what I just recycle some stuff in my head, and it just
You show up, you ask powerful questions, you get people to think differently. I think that's called coaching. I'm pretty sure that's what I just defined as coach. I'm sure I said that earlier. So you're coaching.
I think with both of us, and I'm not, and many of us like us, as I say to people, I'm just steering the ship. I want you to drive the ship. I just want to make sure that ship is going in the right direction. I don't want to control anybody. I want them to control themselves.
Right, right. We're just helping them navigate. My
Exactly.
book is called "You Have the Keys, Now Drive." Right.
Exactly.
Right. It's called "You Have," and Dr. Vibe. That's actually how I got to the name. I was thinking of, like, I had a whole other title for this book, and I was thinking about people I've coached over the years. I was thinking about myself and my own journey, family members, and I'm like, how do some people move through like difficulties in their life, big challenges, and then how do some people stay stuck? And it came to me, it's like a lot of people are in the passenger seat waiting for somebody to come and save them.
Yep.
And I think when you're stuck and you're overwhelmed and you're out of control, you don't know what to do. You're just like, somebody please come save me. And that's how a lot of people end up in the wrong relationships, by the way. And that's kind of how I got to this thing. I was like, no. We all have the tools and the resources and the skills that we need to break through challenges and make that shift in our life. You have the keys. Now you just have to drive. And so that's how I kind of came to the title for the book. And that's what I believe. And that's why, I believe that like there's something special about you. Find out what it is and live it out loud. And even if things are out of control, that brings me to the other point is like, you got to do a life audit, right? Like, where are you in your life? Where are you right now in your relationship, in your health, your wellness, your finances? Where are you? And why do you think you're here? And then where are you trying to go? It's like when you're in debt, right? People just bury their head and be like, they don't even open the bills. And then you ask somebody, okay, you sit down with a financial advisor or somebody who's going to help you get out of it, a debt counselor. What's the first thing they say? Bring me all of your information because we need to know how much debt you're in so that we can get out of it. Well, that's the same way in all areas of your life. If you're 50 pounds overweight and you never step on the scale and you don't know that, how are you going to know how far you have to go? How are you going to know the real situation? So you have to do a life audit or use what we call the wheel of life or something like that to figure it out.
Very true. Very true. And that's something I do minimum every 3 months.
Yes.
Minimum.
Yeah.
So think about it, folks, as a life balance sheet. And let alone people don't do probably balance sheets on their finances.
No.
At least do one on your life. Please. Please do that. Nicole is saying, thank you guys for this conversation. Sarah Ayango from Ottawa. Yeah, that debt thing. Oh boy. That debt thing. Oh boy. Nicole says, thank you guys for this conversation and taking time to answer my questions. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Serve.
No, it's an interactive conversation. And I think, Dr. Bob, I think that's I think it's interesting because oftentimes, and you know this because you're a coach, people already have the answers. Like when you go to a coach or when you're stuck, you already have the answers. It's just that you're not ready to face them. You're not ready to really take action on them. Like when people come to you, they're like, they know I'm stuck in my job. I don't want to be here. They break it down in detail, but it always comes down to one question. What are you going to do to change your situation? Right? That's the question I had to ask myself when I was 45 pounds overweight. That's the question I had to ask myself when I was stuck in this job, that I didn't want to be in. That's the question I always ask myself when I'm stuck. What am I going to do to change my situation? Right? You got to be brave enough to it takes bravery because you already know in the back of your mind, you got to leave that relationship with that person that's treating you foul. You know that you got to, you know what you have to do. But when you actually say that to yourself, look yourself in the mirror and you say, what am I going to do to change my situation? That unlocks a whole new thing for you, right? And a lot of people just aren't willing to ask themselves that one question.
In regards to people that want to get more control of their business, especially entrepreneurs, here is a suggestion for you. Stop trying to get new clients right now. How can you upgrade the services you have for your current clients? What additional value can you find for your current clients? Because everyone's having tough times right now, but it's easier to upgrade or upsell your current clients and try to get new ones right now.
Well, and lead with service, Vibe. Yeah. Lead with service. Like, I went live, 90, 100, almost 100 days. Like, lead with service. Just give more. I've been telling all of my coaching clients, all my business coaching clients, serve more. Ask your clients what you can give them. What do they need? And it's been just some of them actually two of my clients had This is their best month ever in their business, or last month was their
Yeah.
best month ever in the midst of COVID, because they just kept saying, how can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help you? And people just said, well, what can I buy from you? Right. So lead with service if you're in
Yeah.
if you have a business.
Lead with service. And I cannot emphasize enough in keep a constant relationship with your community. Right. Um, just always reach out, see how they're doing. Like Danny, like I saw him doing from one a days to going to podcasts, like and like this and that. I'm going like, and he's always leveling up. Sarah saying yes, adding value to the services already rendered to current clients. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That is so key because people are hey, don't get stuck. The people who make moves now are really going to be ahead of the game for a long time.
Oh
I
yeah.
like that. There's Nicole's got a title for you.
I saw that. Lead with service. That's the next title. That's my new book. Lead with service.
Lead with service. Yeah,
uh,
lead with service. I think that's really important because the biggest leaders are the biggest servers.
yeah, it's the same thing they say. If you want to make $1 million, serve 1 million people, right? So, help
Look
a
at
million people.
Nicole and Sarah are having some fun with each other. Nicole in Scarborough, Sarah in Ottawa. All right, well, this is what we're all about. We're loving the light. Like we want people to have conversations with us and with each other, not between
Right.
with each other.
And I want to see your books. I want to see their books coming out. And all of their books and your book, Dr. Vibe. I want to look on the bookshelf and see all of you guys' books out there.
Nicole says only 10% I take for the name.
No problem. No problem.
but yeah, and as I say, we're not trying to be bossy, but for myself, I've had the biggest business opportunities of my journey this year.
Mm-hmm.
And not all of them were paid.
Right. And I think talk a little bit about that. Let people know a little bit about that. They weren't paid, but what did you get out of them, or why you should do some of these things?
Well, you know what? And it's something I say periodically, credibility. Dr. Vibe, about that book, please. Knowledge Bombs, Time. Jeez, so Nicole, relax yourself. I'm gonna block you from Facebook. Block you from my Facebook page. How could okay? This is an opportunity that came the other day. There was a lady who reached out to me who was looking for a gentleman that you and I know. I'm not going to put out his name to do a presentation about racism in the workplace. And so I gave her the contact name of the gentleman, and he couldn't do it. So she said, "Can you do it?" Said, "All right." Haven't done something like that before. For this, it was a division of the Salvation Army. And people on the call would be from Canada and Barbados. And and I did my research. And sometimes, as I said, sometimes you got to jump off a cliff and grow your wings on the way down.
Yeah.
They loved it. I didn't get paid a cent for it, but the credibility I got from that and the testimonial I got from that is now enlarge the area of topics I can speak at for paid audiences.
Yeah, it's not always, there's different ways to receive value for doing work, quote unquote, for free. And Vibe, you just said it. Like, it can be testimonials. It can be maybe they allow you to sell merchandise or courses or programs that you have. Maybe they advertise. Maybe they allow you to market to the audience. Whatever programs and courses and services you have. There's so many different things that you get from that.
So this has become a Danny and Vibe coaching session because the questions are flying in now. Sarah has a great question. The payout doesn't always come immediately. How do you recognize a true opportunity and something that and then something that's not worthwhile? I think she's saying one versus the other. Do you want to take that first? I have an answer, but it's up to I
You
want
go
you.
ahead. You go ahead first. I have an answer, but go ahead.
I think the key thing is, does the opportunity relate to your purpose? For me, and I brought up this comparison, there's something about relevancy and purpose. People like, if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, Dr. Vibe, I have an opportunity for you to help an orphanage." Say, "Hey, that's great, that's fantastic." But then the same person comes up to me 5 minutes later and says, "Dr. Vibe, I have an opportunity for you to help Black men and fathers." Both great opportunities, but the second one is more relevant to my purpose. And so then, if it's relevant to my purpose, if they cannot provide me a financial thing, then I would negotiate, is there a way? Can I sell some books? Can I do this? There are other ways that you can uh, get into their book. And actually, you know what? I'll be really blunt. I will ask organizations, if I've got a fee and they can't afford it, I say, okay, what is your fee? What is your charge? What can you afford? And even nonprofits, folks, do have money. Let me just say that
Of course they do.
nonprofits have money, because if
Yeah,
they didn't have money, they wouldn't be operating.
that's right. That's right.
So I would say that's just some of the things I would ask. I would say, you know what? It's got to be relevant to your purpose, because if you're not getting paid for something and it's not relevant to your purpose, you are truly wasting your time.
Hmm. No, that's good. I was going to say something similar, and I think the other thing too is to know who it is that you're sitting across from, right? What is
Yes.
their person's heart? What is their do they give more than they take? Do you see them like making a greater impact in the world, right? Um,
Actually, I've got a good example on my end about that. For those who know even a little bit about me, one of the things that I do is I don't even mention out in the front anymore. I've been a contributor for a website called the Good Men Project for the last 8 years.
yes, yes.
8 years. I have the opportunity of putting my content on their website every week for the last 8 years. I am the only person who is a podcast or verbal live creator. I get to put my content on their site. Yes, I don't get paid for it, but I do get paid for it because their readership, they have 3 million unique viewers to their website every month.
Wow,
Let me
wow,
say that again, 3 million. And they get 6 million page views a month. So
wow.
I can say that I have a relationship for 8 years with this website, to the
Right.
point that the lady who runs the Good Men Project, yes, again, the lady
Isn't
who
that
runs the Good Men Project, has put a testimonial saying, "We are looking forward to creating the future of media with Dr. Vibe." She
wow,
has 30 years of advertising experience.
wow.
So credibility leads to profitability. So choose your battles, and sometimes think of the long thing. Too many people are focused on the end goal. We're not thinking about the little wins we get along the way.
Dr. Vibe, I'm patient. So many things have played out in my life because here's what happens. I meet somebody and I right away know, first of all, if they give more than they take, if they're genuine and authentic, and then we have a connection. And then I know that I'm going to work with that person. It can be a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later. I just know. And so I maintain contact with that person. And that's led me to all kinds of like big contracts. When I used to have a training company, it led me to working in Argentina. It led me to being a part of the New Me Men's Project because I was patient and because I saw value in the other person, right? So I think that's what's really interesting, right? You have to see value in them, and are they going to add value to your life? Are they going to add value to the people that you're serving? And it doesn't have to be right now, but eventually in the future, right?
Hey, you never know. I'll give another example. About 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to share at a conference it was a conference for racialized maternal health conference.
Hmm.
So in English people, layman's terms, it was a conference for Black women and maternal health, taking care of kids. They had it at the same place where the New Me book launch was, Daniel Spectrum, downtown Toronto. I get down there. I come out of my car. I come into the auditorium. The auditorium was rammed. There's at least 500 people there.
Wow.
90% women. They had speakers all day. Myself and another gentleman were the only two male speakers that day.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. He's from the Children's Aid Society. So he's got his PowerPoint going all over the place. And I had left my laptop in the car. And it wasn't a long walk. But I said, you know what? I'm going to go without it. So I get up there and I say, ladies and the few gentlemen that are here, if you're here for a PowerPoint, you better leave now, because all I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about myself, a little about the not the passion I have, because I don't say it's work anymore, the passion of helping fathers and men. And that's it. Get off the stage. Bless. I stayed there for another 2 hours. All these ladies asked me questions about men.
Wow.
So fast forward, was it February of this year? I get an email. Hey, we saw you speak at the Maternalized Health Conference. Now, this is the lady who is the chief person running social services in Yellowknife, the
Wow.
Northwest Territories. She says, I know it's a little short notice, but we're having a 3-day conference because we're in the process of redoing our whole service delivery to our social service team.
Wow.
Would you like to come up and share about fatherhood for the conference? I said, well, first of all, I'm humbled that you saw my sharing with you. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to meet you. She said, no, we watched you online.
See, you see how it happens?
I said, what?
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I said, well, I don't got money to fly all the way up to Yellowknife. Says, no. We got you covered.
Right.
So they paid for the airfare. They paid for my hotel room. They gave me money for the 4 days.
Right.
Plus they paid for my presentation.
You see? That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So again, when you are relevant with and working your purpose, because they wanted me to share about fatherhood for Indigenous men. I'm going, here I am, a Black man, speaking to this conference. Was about 40, 50 people. There were 2 Black people.
Wow.
Everyone else was either from the land, as they say, or from different parts of the world. That conference changed my life forever.
You just don't, you see what I'm saying? You just don't know, right? You just don't know. And I always tell people, if you feel like you're being called towards something or connecting with somebody, then answer the call. But, you know, again, I understand sometimes you get burned and you have to kind of be cautious about it. If you find yourself working on someone else's business more than your own, then it might be time to put distance between you and that person.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, that's a perfect example, Dr. Vi. I have 5 or 6 stories like that. You know,
and that gave, and again, I know people are saying, again, it gave me more control of my thought process, of my value.
That's it.
I had a better idea and clarity of my value, that I said, I would have never thought of presenting to Indigenous people. That was that was a life-changing moment in my journey.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That it gave me more control, more clarity. And I want to go back up there.
Yeah.
Because one of the funny things I found out about Yellowknife, there is a huge Somalian population in Yellowknife.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me. That's
going, what? and you know, Sarah, you great saying answering the call. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's all that control piece. This year has given me more control over my thought process, my journey, etc., and also has given me better control about my relationships.
Mhm. Well, one thing. Sorry, I just
Oh,
want to
please,
say this.
please. Sorry about
One thing about me is I'm very strategic with my relationships. Like, you know some of the same people that
that.
I'm around, and
Absolutely.
I'm really wise about the people that I spend time with, and
Control.
I control my time, my energy by controlling who I spend time with.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because there was a time in my life where I was around a lot of people who just didn't have goals. They didn't have dreams. They were very pessimistic about life. And once I kind of made that shift to be around more powerful people, people who have goals, people who have a vision for their life, then my whole life changed. Right. And then I got a coach. I ended up getting mentors. And so that's one of the things that I would say, like when you're really kind of feeling like life is spiraling out of control, then make sure that you connect with some powerful people. Make sure you connect with people who are going places,
Yes.
not people who are stuck in park. People who got like when you talk to somebody, their goals and dreams should be like so astronomical that you're like, I don't even know if you can achieve that. Those are the types of people that I like to be around. That's why I hang out with Dr. Vibe all the time. That's why I hang out with some other brothers all the time because we encourage each other. We
Absolutely.
we have big
Absolutely.
goals. We have big dreams. The conversations that we have are bold. And that's what it should be
Absolutely.
in life. Like if you're trying to break through like this self-doubt and this fear and this anxiety, the only way to do that is to be around people and to have this powerful self-talk every single day. You have to talk to yourself like it's already in motion, even if it's not.
Well, it's something I had, and I always appreciate Danny lets me come in and share sometimes on his IG lives. Is that a lot of us are just figuring out along the way, right? We don't got it all down pat,
No,
right?
no,
But the thing is, we don't quit. They never made statues for quitters.
no, no.
They never made statue for quitters. And I piggyback on what Danny's saying there. Control your environment as much as possible, especially the people in your environment. Many years ago, George Fraser, known as America's
Yeah,
Black Networker, I saw many years ago. I
yeah.
remember he saying, Dr. Vibe, you know how so many people can move ahead in their life? Get rid of the dysfunctional people in your life.
Yeah. We call it
If you
protecting
want
your
to,
energy. Protect
yeah,
your energy.
one of the best places you can start getting control of your life is, as Danny said, who you hanging with. Who you hanging with.
Yeah.
You don't want to hang around with takers.
Yeah.
It's a reciprocal relationship.
Yeah.
It's a like like I tell people before. I met Danny's wife before I met him,
Yeah, that's
and
true. Yeah.
I'm working on an opportunity, whether it's separately or together for both of them, and I ain't gonna be happy till that happens.
Well, we appreciate that.
I ain't happy because I want people to be bigger than me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to see people win. And I think,
Yeah.
and this is the key. I think for people who are kind of feeling like they don't know where they're going in life, the only way to really find your purpose is to try new things.
That's it.
Like, that's the only way. um, every weekend. Take every weekend or a day a month and do something different. If you've been thinking about trying something, then try it. That's the only way. I never knew that I was a public speaker. I got thrown into it. And then I'm like, I'm not a public speaker. It's not my thing. I got thrown into it, and then I decided that I was going to explore it a little bit more, no matter how uncomfortable it was, and it was very awkward. And then once I started getting into it, I realized that I have an ability to connect with people through speaking. And so you have to try something different to find your real gift. So don't be afraid. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be awkward. But that's just how everything is in the beginning. When you first learn how to drive, it was awkward. When you first learn how to cook, when you first, school, everything is awkward in the beginning.
Look,
So put yourself out there, extend yourself, try new things, because that's gonna give you that the lens to look at maybe where your passion is.
I'll add on to that. For many people, comparison is killing you. Get control of what you have control over. Don't look at what other people are doing. Comparison is killing a lot of people
Right.
unnecessarily. And I always say to failure is a moment, it's not a person.
That's true. That's true.
Failure is a moment, it's not a person. I screw up, folks. Believe me, I screw up. I'll be
Yeah.
so transparent that I was supposed to do a conversation this afternoon with someone in England and I plumb forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I called them and said, "Hey, I'm sorry." Says, "No problem, Vibe. Let's let's work it out." But those are those things. Ask relationships, invest in yourself, whether it's especially if it's coaching, get that coach.
Yeah.
Get that coach
Wow.
because you know what? You didn't come into the world by yourself, so I don't know why you're trying to do it by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we're just afraid to ask for help. Like a lot of us are just afraid to look weak, and it actually takes a lot of strength and courage to actually ask for help. Or to even sit down and acknowledge where you are. Right? It takes a lot of strength and courage to ask yourself that one question: What am I going to do to change my situation? Or to sit down and look at, you do a life audit. It takes a lot of strength and courage to do that. And
I
when you do, even though it's awkward and you don't, you'll be so happy and so grateful that you did it, because now you know your starting point, right? You know it, you're aware of it, and it can only go up from here.
Well, and just want to shout out Doug Minter, consultant for the Black. Is it Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce? A very good associate, and thank you for dropping by. Again, that uncomfortable stuff. Yes, sometimes you gotta have to get out of, but growth begins at the edge of uncomfortability.
Yes. Yeah. You can't grow
That's
being comfortable. You
no.
can't you can't grow doing the same things, being around the same people that you every day. That's not how growth works. Growth, in order to grow, there has to be some discomfort or uncomfort. That's just how it works, right? So
I
I agree with you, Dr. Vibe.
no, I really it just it's this is really and I'm it's wonderful to see the people that are in here, like the Sarahs, the Nicoles, the Dougs. Those people get it.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of what I would talk about, because I know right now a lot of people are going through. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of uncertainty now that we're trying to move through this. There's still a lot of fear. There's a lot of anxiety, and we have to sit with ourselves. We have to learn to first calm ourselves down, calm our minds. Give ourselves this real reality check, as I call it, and then that's when you can start to kind of move through this. But if you're not going to be real with yourself, you're never going to be able to move through this. You're never going to be able to get back on track if you don't have this reality check with yourself, and if you don't seek out help and speak to other people that may be in a position to help you.
Yeah, I agree. Speak out to those people. Like, even if they have one day more experience than what you have, they're ahead of you.
Right, right, right,
They're ahead of you.
right.
So if someone has what you want, shut up and listen. Look at this. Would love to have a coaches mastermind with you. I would be honored for you to join myself and others who are coaches. Dr. Vibe, connect us. We will get that done as long as you
Okay.
include me in it, Doug.
Oh, of course. Coach Vibe has to be included.
I don't ask for much these days. Just those little things. But yeah, Doug, I will chop it up with you tomorrow, Doug, in regards to that. But definitely uh it's very, very necessary. And again, I'll emphasize again, taking that coaching course changed my life around. It
Yeah.
it gave me control and get rid of that stinking thinking.
And I just want to say one more thing. I think a lot of the challenges that we have in our life comes down to one thing: us feeling like we're not worthy. Uh,
Thank
Almost
you.
every challenge or problem that we have, I'm not worthy of another job. I'm not worthy of making more money. I'm not worthy of this relationship. I'm not a great parent. I'm not worthy of the kids that I have. Almost every challenge and problem and situation we face in our lives comes down to us in one way or another feeling like we are not worthy. That's what it boils down to. And so there's power in that self-talk. A lot of people think self-talk is ridiculous. And I say this all the time. It's not, because if you believe the lies that you're telling yourself, why not start telling yourself the truth? Right? The truth is that you are worthy. The truth is that you can have the things that you want. The truth is that you can have loving relationships. The truth is that you're resilient. You've made it through things in the past and you can do it again. That's the truth. So we have to stop believing the lies that we're telling ourselves and start telling ourselves the truth. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, if you're a billionaire, if you're a highly successful athlete or business person, you need to tell yourself this every day, and you need to hear it from other people. And so if people at that level need to tell themselves and hear it, then all of us need to do the same thing. So I just kind of wanted to say that.
Imposter syndrome. He's also saying coaches help you get rid of head trash. Love that quote.
Yes.
Love that quote. Well, I tell people every morning when you get out of bed and those feet or whatever touches the ground, you either say, I'm the man for the job or I'm the woman for the job.
Yes.
You got to believe it in yourself, because if you can't believe in yourself and if you don't have control of yourself, you better be ready to duck.
Yeah. And to get to the belief, you have to get started.
Yes.
Like I've said this many times, belief you don't wake up and believe in yourself. Belief comes through progress equals belief. Progress equals belief.
Yes, I was waiting to hear that tonight.
Right?
So you
just got to start. The progress is going to come. Like after you do that one push-up, you haven't done a push-up for 10 years, right? Your goal is to do 100. Guess what? You start with one. You're like, wow, I did one. The next day you do two. Now, next thing you're up to 20, you're like, I'm going to get to 100. But that only comes from progress. Progress equals belief. So if that's the case, we just have to get started.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't get good, get done.
Bob, you got me going here, man.
Well, hey, and the audience is enjoying it, so we're serving them.
Yeah,
we're serving them tonight. Like I said, we again, we're not experts, but you guys are dropping nuggets. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. No, thank you so much. I want to encourage people. If you want control, you got to give your all. Now, we're in Celsius in Canada, but there used to be something called Fahrenheit. Pop quiz, whether it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, what temperature does water boil at? I'll tell you. Fahrenheit, it was 212 degrees. Centigrade, it's 100. If you're thinking Fahrenheit, you can't give 211. You got to give go to the 212. If it's Celsius, 98.6, well, 90.6 is Fahrenheit. 99 Celsius ain't going to make it boil. 100 degrees is going to make it boil. In the process of getting control, though, remember, take time to rest.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. One of the nicest things I've seen recently, I followed Danny on IG. He's gone out with his family a few times to the beach. People say, Danny's human? No, he just doesn't do IG and coach.
Of course we're human, man.
Oh my gosh, you mean he does that? Yes. He's doing all right. He has a great business, but he also has great family time and invests in people.
Yeah.
So that's another part of control.
Right. Yeah, I think, we have to get better at controlling our energy and our emotions, because once you control those things, then if you do find yourself in a problem, that's how you get into solution mode. You can't get into solution mode when you're anxious, you're upset, like you have to be calm, right? That's like, think about it. Any time that you were in whether it's a work situation, any situation that you've been in and it's been a problem, What had to happen first for you to get that clarity? You had to calm down, right? Maybe you had to remove yourself. If it was an argument, you had to release yourself from that person. And so that's what we have to learn to do. We have to learn to control our energy, control our environment as much as we can. And that helps to control our thinking. And we have to program our minds. And that's why I tell people, wake up with a morning ritual every day. That first 20 to 30 minutes every single day, you're programming your mind. You're programming your mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I say to people, if your life's a mess, it's probably because your mind's a mess.
Right.
Simple as that.
Right.
If your life is a mess, it's probably because your mind is a mess. Doug Minter says the number anthem 212-100. Oh yeah, 212-100. Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, if Danny and I come on, we're gonna have to drop the 212-100 on these people.
Oh, definitely.
Doug has a great community all throughout North America, especially in the U.S. But definitely that I just, if you are a coach or a mentor, I want to ask you this favor. The next person you meet, ask them this question. What is your dream? First of all, see if they answer that question, if they have one. If they don't, be concerned. Be concerned because there's, again, people don't feel like they have control over life, so they have no dreams, goals, and desires. Like all these people, I know people say, I just want to get by another day. And you may be that in your situation, but you want to go further than that.
You need a vision, right? Like, one of the things that I realized long ago, probably for the last, I don't know, 12 years, every time I started a job, I had a vision for what I wanted to happen at that job. And so when I was going through, the pains that you go through at work, I always knew that there was a bigger mission, right? And so I think that's just an example, but I think when you have a reason to wake up every day, it actually puts things into context. So the challenges that you go through, the successes that you have, the relationships that you build, when you have a vision for what you want your life looks like what does a perfect day look like to you? Right? What is your perfect day? And the goal in life is to play to that perfect day as many days as you possibly can. Right? And and so if you wake up with that in mind every day, now your life has context, right? The 2-hour commute to work. It's like, okay, cool, but I'm on a bigger mission. The disagreement you have at work, that's okay. I'm on a bigger mission, right? It just gives you context for things. And most of us don't have that. So we wake up every day in survival mode instead of actually working towards a bigger mission or vision for our life, right? And so that's just something to think about.
It's so true. And Doug Minter, let me clarify what's your BHAG. I don't know what that acronym means, but if you want to explain, we'll answer it. One of the things, and you talked about making decisions, one acronym I use is HALT, HALT, which means never make a decision when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
Mm-hmm.
Because in all those situations, you don't have control of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm cycling it back to the theme. You do not have control of yourself. So the more you have control, the better decisions you can make for yourself. And not only the bigger bonus, big, hairy, audacious. Oh, so I love that. So someone's putting a test on us. Want to take that first? You want me to take it?
What was it? I didn't hear it. I didn't
put it up on the screen. Doug is asking, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal?
No, I mean, my big, hairy, audacious goal is to serve 1 million people, to help 1 million people find their true gift and use it to serve other people. To give people that courage, the confidence to find out what it is that they're meant to do, and to live it out loud. I'm trying to reach 1 million people through my podcast, speaking, coaching, any way that I can. That's my goal.
I guess for myself, there's a few of them, but one of them is to serve 1 million men. That's one of them. But to again, the relevancy and purpose, serve 1 million men, whether, like Danny said, whether it's digitally, face to face, go on a mission trip,
Mm-hmm.
all those things, to just serve 1 million men. And that can be men, that can be fathers, caregivers, 1 million men. If this conversation is a keeper, guys, this is golden for all listening, including myself. Thank you, Ms. Nicole.
Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, that's what it is. And also also a big goal for me too is, and he says it now, is my dad is proud of me.
Wow. That's amazing, man.
That and again, that isn't a money thing.
Right.
It's just that, getting back to what Danny was saying earlier about the service, right? To say that, son, you done good.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's amazing.
That to me, and as I don't know if I shared it on last week, but my dad just called me last week and he said, "Hey, how you doing? What's up, Dad?" He says, "I just called to hear your voice."
Man, how did that make you feel? Like, what
I get emotional right now. If we weren't live, I'd be bawling my eyes out, and I'm watering my eyes. I just went, simple, 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 simple. Get your mind right, get control your priorities right, and you get rewarded with that. And that's not even monetary. That's not even monetary. One of the people that put you on this earth saying, "I just wanted to hear your voice."
Wow.
Can't get much better than that. And not every man, let alone not every Black man, has that experience.
That's right. That's right.
So Doug Minter says, mine is to advise 1,000 firms in the African diaspora to $1 billion in revenue. This includes 800 startups.
Oh yeah, I like that. It's a good goal.
Don't worry, Doug. I'm there to help you on that, and I'm sure Danny would be too.
Of course.
We're there for that. But that's the thing, and also a point of it too, especially providing economic freedom. Because whether we like it or not, we live in a capitalist society, and too many people, we just had Emancipation Day, too many people are still in chains because of economics.
And I think, and that's why I decided to make that transition into business coaching, because we all have knowledge and skills that we can use and monetize. And once you do that to the level that, we can grow our businesses, that creates the freedom that we want in our lives.
Absolutely.
And it only comes, the only way you get freedom is through economics, is through finance. There's no other way for you to be able to do what you love and spend more time with your family and travel and do all those things. That's the only way. And so I realized that people are searching for more joy and happiness and success, but a lot of that comes through doing something that you're passionate about and earning a living.
Yeah. Doug Minter says a turtle doesn't get upon a fence post by himself. Well
That's
put.
Right. That's
On
right.
that note, we gotta shut it down.
Well, I could be here all night.
And Coach Stone and I, when I say we chop it up, we chop it up.
Yeah.
And again, remember, one or two last things, Danny, before we close down. How, just some advice on control, and then also how people can get in touch with you and get amplified in the right direction.
Well, we talked a lot about it already, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, fearful, then, speak to somebody that love and trust. That's the very first thing that I say. The other thing is, like, you have to do an audit. Where are you right now in your life, and where do you want to go? Be honest with yourself. Do a reality check. And then you have to, develop some type of morning ritual or affirmations and be kind to yourself, right? But those are just a couple of the quick tips. I actually talked about this episode in my podcast, so you can go to the Grind and Gratitude show anywhere that you listen to podcasts. That episode is up right now. I give you 7 tips to help you break through and get your life back on track. You can also find me on all social media platforms at I am Danny Stone. That's at I am Danny Stone. That's also my website as well. So my website is iamdannystone.com. And so, yeah, I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, just send me a direct message or an email, and I'll get back to you.
Well, folks, I want to say thank you very much for putting up with us. See that a lot of people wanted to put up with us. So I like to shout out Nicole, Sarah, Doug, anyone else who is watching us live. Jill, can't forget Jill, live on the replay. I am Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of epic conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. If you want to catch me, the best thing to do is just go to my website, the drvibeshow.com. That's everything Dr. Vibe there you want to catch. Upcoming conversations, because we're broadcasting live on August 5th. Tomorrow night on August 6th, we have the triplets, one of the first Muslim Black couple to be featured on platforms such as CNN, Ebony, Dr. Phil, TLC, TEDx. They were named back in 2013 as Ebony Magazine's Couple of the Year. Mm-hmm. Also, Mashable named them back in 2013 as the Social Media Power Couple. Amazing conversation. They chop it up. We have a lot of fun. That's tomorrow night. And Sunday evening, catch me on Black Canada Talking, my national conversation with Black Canadians, where they give their comments, opinions on topics of interest to them. This Sunday, we have Morgan Campbell, ex-writer for the Toronto Star in regards to sports. We're going to see what he's going to talk about. We'll probably get him to talk about the whole effect of COVID-19 on sports or whatever he wants to chat about. So that's it. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Also, as Robert Smith, richest Black person in America, says, don't waste this crisis. Also, thanks to BIA Media. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.